This is the story of Palestine, where it all began, why it's happening, what's really going on, and how people are trying to help. I am going to start this video with an actual story from a real person who was actually there. This is Omar. He's 27 years old, he's a father of 3 children, and he lives in Palestine. Here's his story. On October, at around 4 a.m., my family and I were awakened by intense gunfire and explosions. We were terrified. We didn't know what to do. My wife started crying, our kids were so scared. I went downstairs to see what was happening. It looked like a scene from a movie. Total chaos. I grabbed some water and rushed to the roof to try to see what was in the sky. That's when I saw 2 rockets coming towards our building. I felt a big explosion and then everything went black. When I woke up, I found myself lying on the ground bleeding. I couldn't move. My leg was broken. People were running everywhere. I tried to get up but fell back down. I called out for help. No one could hear me. I started to lose hope. Then my brother came and carried me into the house. I don't remember much after that. Why did this happen? What did we do to deserve this? The bombing didn't stop, it kept going on and on. Every few minutes a rocket would land nearby and shake the ground. I stayed in the basement with my family, hugging my children tightly, trying to protect them. I was scared, really scared. After a while the bombing stopped, but soon it started again, even louder than before. The entire building shook. My house collapsed. Everything was destroyed. My wife and children were gone. I don't know if they're alive or dead. Now this is the reality of thousands of Palestinians who have been bombed by Israel. Tens of thousands of Palestinians have had their homes destroyed. Millions have had to flee their homes and leave everything behind. Many have lost their jobs, their businesses, their cars, their farms, their fields, and the list goes on and on. In Gaza, more than 80% of the population is now considered poor. Nearly half of the population is unemployed. 1/3 of the population depends on humanitarian aid. There's not enough food, clean water, fuel, electricity, and now there's no safe place to go because their homes have been bombed. They've had to flee to schools, mosques, stadiums, and other public buildings. The hospitals are completely overwhelmed. There aren't enough doctors, nurses, or so many people have died, so many people are injured, so many children are afraid, and the world just keeps watching. So here's the question. Why is this happening? Why is this evil being done to innocent people? To answer this question, we need to go back to the beginning. This is the story of before the year 1948. The region of Palestine was mostly inhabited by Arabs. At that time, it was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. However, during World War I, the empire collapsed and the British took control of the region. Now, the British didn't want to rule over the Arabs, so they brought in another people to live in Palestine, the Jews. They encouraged Jews from all over the world to come and settle in Palestine. In fact, they gave them free land if they agreed to come. Now, at first, this didn't cause any problems. The Jews and the Arabs lived side by side in relative peace. However, as more and more Jews arrived in Palestine, tensions began to grow. The Arabs started feeling that the Jews were taking away their jobs, their resources, and their land. On the other hand, the Jews started feeling that the Arabs were inferior to them and that they didn't belong in Palestine. Then in 1947, the United Nations proposed a plan to divide Palestine into 2 separate states, one Jewish state and one Arab state. Both the Jews and the Arabs rejected the plan. They couldn't agree on how to share the land and the resources. So in 1948, when the British left Palestine, both the Jews and the Arabs declared independence. This led to a war between the 2 sides. The result was that the Jews won and they were able to create the State of Israel. The Arabs lost and they were forced to flee their homes. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians became refugees. Since then, the conflict has never ended. The Palestinians have been trying to regain their land ever since. They've launched countless attacks against Israel, and Israel has responded with even more force. Over the years, the situation has become more and more violent. More and more people have been killed. More and more children have been traumatized. More and more families have been torn apart. But let's be honest, who is really to blame for all this? Who is the real monster in this story? Well, believe it or not, it's not the Palestinians and it's not the Jews. It's actually the leaders of both sides. These are the leaders of Palestine and these are the leaders of Israel. For decades, these people have been using the hatred and the anger of their people to stay in power. They've been making billions of dollars off of this war. They've been selling weapons to both sides so that the killing can continue. Let me tell you a little secret. Both of these men don't even live in their own countries. They both live in luxury hotels in Europe. Yes, while their people suffer and die, they live in luxury hotels in Europe. How can anyone be so selfish? How can anyone be so heartless? If you think this is bad, it's actually much worse than that. You see, these leaders are puppets. They don't make their own decisions. They are controlled by someone else. Someone else is pulling the strings and making them dance like puppets. And guess who that is? The puppet master is the United States of America. The USA controls Israel and the USA controls Palestine. They keep this conflict going so that they can sell more weapons and make more money. Now, I don't hate America. I don't hate Israel or the Jews. I don't even hate the Palestinians or their leaders. What I hate is the system that keeps this conflict going. What I hate is the fact that innocent people have to suffer. What I hate is the fact that children have to grow up in fear. What I hate is the fact that thousands of people have to die every day. It's hard to imagine what these people are going through. It's hard to understand how they can keep going after everything they've seen and experienced. But they do. They keep going because they have no other choice. They have no one else to turn to. They are trapped in this nightmare and they can't wake up. This story doesn't just affect the people of Palestine. It affects all of us. It affects all of us who have to watch innocent people suffer. It affects all of us who have to watch children be killed. It affects all of us who have to watch families be torn apart. So what can we do? What can we do to help these people? Well, the first thing we can do is to spread awareness. We need to tell their stories so that more people understand what's happening. We need to make sure that we don't forget about them. We also need to pray for them. Pray that God gives them strength, pray that God gives them hope, and pray that God brings them peace. And lastly, we need to donate whatever we can. We need to help them rebuild their homes, their businesses, and their lives. We need to give them food, water, and medicine. We need to give them books and toys for their children. We need to give them hope for the future. The situation in Palestine is dire, but it's not hopeless. If we all do our part, we can make a difference in the lives of these people. We can help them rebuild their lives and give them hope for the future. So let's all do our part today and help the people of Palestine. Thank you for watching this video. May Allah bless you and protect you.